Hello, you are welcome to Afro Diaspora Media Podcast. I'm your host, Major Mogisho. And tonight, if you are planning to come to Canada, please watch this show before you plan anything. Or if you live in Canada, especially in Vancouver, please watch this show and I will be back with you. Thank you. Once again, we are back into the studio. Today, we're going to talk about immigration. And I'm going to have a special guest. So we're going to talk about a few things about immigration, but also we're going to cover his album, Stamina. We have a star in the room. BK, what's up?
What's going on, Major? What's going on?
Hey, man. How are you, man?
Long time no see. Thank you for having me here, man.
Long time, brother. Long time, brother. So you are welcome to Afro Diaspora once again, man. You know, it's been a journey.
Been a journey. I miss it. I miss that journey.
Yes, for those who don't know you, man, who's BK? Please, let's go for that first.
And you know, BK is a guy born in Congo, DRC. Obviously had some movement going on around, because in terms of stability and how, you stay in one place and face challenges. So in terms of those challenges, BK had to move to Uganda, a closest country, close by Congo.
Mm-hmm.
BK mostly grew up, I would say, half of his childhood life, and then moved to Canada. The main topic of the day, moved to Canada. And that's when the story starts. As soon as it comes to Canada. But BK Baraka, the name is the one clicking. But BK definitely the one, the tag name.
Can we precise that Baraka lives in Vancouver, Canada?
Baraka lives in Vancouver, Canada.
Wow.
Yes.
That's amazing, man. So let's go through some of the questions that we prepared for you. Today we're going to talk about immigration, man, and the impact of immigrants in Canada, but also the Canadian impact on the lives of immigrants, because that's also something that we need to be discussing. So my first question is, how do you think, according to you, because you also, as an immigrant too, how do you think do immigrants come to balance between their own culture that they come with into Canada and the Canadian culture that is also stronger that they move into, according to you, Baraka?
That's a good question, Major. That's because these are the things I never even had a chance to tell you. When I came here.
Yeah.
Every immigrant that comes here, if we're gonna dive straight into it, they do face challenges. It could be as family, it could be individual, but they face challenges. They face challenges. It's just, in general just hard. It's just very, very difficult in general. We all know moving from another country to another country as a newcomer. You have to get adapted to the culture. You have to get adapted to the nature in terms of weather, in terms of language barrier, because some people might come here, they speak a little bit of English, or they might not speak English at all. They speak a little French, might not speak French at all.
Wow.
So that's, I think that in terms of that, it becomes a little more challenging for all the immigrants. I'm speaking for myself. As I got here, I think that was one of the most difficult things that I had to face.
Yeah.
In family from here. So I feel like the culture because when you come from Africa,
Yeah.
mainly speaking, coming to Canada, first of all, you face numerous challenges.
Yeah.
Weather is number one of it.
Mm-hmm.
During my time when I came here, I arrived here back in '08,
Yeah.
2008.
Can you lean more on the right side so I can see you very well? When you lean on the
Okay.
side, yes. Yeah. Thank you. Thank
Right.
you. Yeah.
So, arriving here in 2008,
Yes.
I I feel like that was a different era. It was a different era. It was a different time. But in general, I think that's the common things immigrants from Africa should like be aware of facing before even making the decision to come to Canada. You should be aware of facing that coming here. You have to basically start from zero.
Okay.
You have to start from zero, from the scratch, and you have to be expecting people to not understand you
Wow.
as you grow.
Wow.
That's the one thing you have to understand. People won't understand you because of how they were raised here and how you were raised there. How we are raised in Africa. We're raised with everyone. Perhaps will be friendly or talk to everybody in a way,
Yeah.
in
Yeah.
any way they,
Yeah.
you know. And the style of living, the style of going to the market and buy stuff. You talk to people differently. Over here, it becomes a little different. Schools for little kids who come here. Um, that's the first thing you have to learn, that it won't be the same as it is in Africa.
Okay.
You know,
Okay.
First of all, they don't beat the kids here. I don't know if they still beat the kids in Africa. I don't know if the system changed.
Yeah.
But
We call it discipline.
discipline, discipline. So
Yeah.
you teach them how the discipline to learn.
Okay. So you beat your
Um,
kid here?
no, no. So
Okay.
that was one of the things I feel like coming here, growing up in Africa, you have a different mentality. So when you get here,
Mm-hmm.
you realize the system is very different from African system. So you have to try to adapt to that, because once you lay back a little bit, they see you different. They see you as, oh, this guy is different. And then during my time, of course, that would be now your lack of building connections. So the majority of time, most people were just very, very, very quiet and very, very alone.
Mm-hmm.
The most biggest transition problem that a lot of immigrants faced. They had to face being alone. They had to
Mm-hmm.
face adapting things slowly by themselves,
Mm-hmm.
in terms of them being alone in school, not only alone in school, but alone in the whole entire group.
Mm-hmm.
They will feel like they're alone, they don't belong there. So that's the most challenging things, as a culture that you can compare to being here in Canada. So that's the mentality you have to make sure you come up here with, and know that would, now, personally, I don't know if things are the same as used to be back in the days. Maybe things have changed. I don't know.
In school?
In school, in terms of school, yes.
Yeah.
But that's usually the way things was, and the most challenging part of it,
Yeah.
for immigrants coming here.
How about churches? Do you think it's different to how people pray and how we worship in Africa compared to how we do it over here?
Yes, yes. It's absolutely different. I feel like, the good thing about African churches, they have a certain connection of knowing this is how we are.
Okay.
So when you go to a different cultural church, they have the way of them representing their church and the program and so on. So you have to make sure you get familiar in not mixing up the way you pray in your church with the way they are in their church. Things might be different. Things might be, characterized differently.
Wow.
And so you have to a difference in terms of they have their own way of going through the service. That involves they might not be just dancing. Because I know Africans, we know how to get up there. We know uh, how to move. Eh, when the pastors start dancing in front of the church, that's how you know the church is anointed and is moving. The pastors doesn't care. The
Wow.
pastors go on, join the choirs and the group and they're dancing. But
Wow.
here, for the different churches that I've been in, that's definitely one of the different things.
Mm.
How they go through the program. So that's one of the different challenges.
Hmm.
Uh, things, but we do have African churches here too.
Okay. Do they
In,
really worship like the way you used to think it would be when it was in Africa, or it's kind of like influenced by the Canadian culture too?
where they have to follow the programs.
Okay.
They have to follow
The
the
moves,
restriction.
the restrictions
The
of
re-
the government, right?
things are you can't you can't be playing loud music when it's past 11. You know how some people actually go ahead and we worship till 12 1 a.m.
Yeah.
There's there's rules here. You can't get past 11 p.m. without noise complaint. So if you're around people,
Yeah.
you have to make you obey that. So before coming to Canada, these are the rules that you have to make sure you know.
So you don't
Or
wake up in the morning and play your drums at 5
no,
a.m. with your church
no,
in
no.
Africa.
These are the things that you have to make sure you know that these you won't be acceptable here. Or else you will you will get letters and letters and
Yeah. Wow.
so that's the main thing that was very very different for us being here, and it takes time.
Yeah.
That's one that takes time.
Mm,
You
mm.
know, in terms of how um we came here, because like I mentioned earlier, coming here is a whole new different world now you're living in. You know, you feel like you're in the baby steps.
Oh, so they bring you back as a baby, right?
Bring you back as baby, so you have to learn how to, for example, take the bus and go to the market. You have
Mm.
to learn to wake up this certain time. This is where the bank opens. This is where this open. This way they close. So you have to make sure you learn all these things, so you can fit in the system.
Yeah.
But the most challenging things obviously was getting to know the familiar of
Yeah.
things around, in terms of finding addresses, in terms of finding places to just sit and eat and such thing.
Mm.
The house and all that. So, but that's the thing we're gonna talk about mostly later on. But that's the main thing you have to make sure you know that you're not coming here just to you chill. You come here in Canada, you chill, and everything comes to you. No, you have to
Yeah.
really work for it.
How
You have
does
to
the
work for it.
weather impact to like what do you think about the weather? Does it impact to the new immigrant when he comes, you have to wear big jackets when it's cold.
That was one of the difference that you will be noticed right away when that happens. You will be noticed because coming here, um it's normal. It's a human nature.
Yeah.
You come here, you come from the hot weather, and you come to a weather where it's switch. It's hot, cold, cold, and then warm, and then hot again, and then cold, and it just recycles.
Mm.
So, and the cold, really cold.
Yeah.
So I remember when I came here, it was around September,
Mm.
and that time I would see people wearing, um, shirts like this, very small shirts, shorts. People go outside with shorts and having a good time,
Then you tried.
but the whole family will be jacket up, you know, jacket up and everything. So that was also one of the things that was very different, because now when you start showing these characters of you uh, feeling the cold and just being yourself, like it's too cold now, they will know you're an immigrant for sure. And in some circumstance, we did face some difficulties in terms of being judged, like
Okay.
because
Okay.
people have
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
different
Wow.
ways of people, so you get judged. You feel some type, but those are the majority of things that qualifies in you being feeling like you're alone and feeling like you're not fitting in properly, and that will be very difficult. And I can't lie to you, a lot of immigrant that I've came across during the time I was here, it was the common things. Them feeling very alone, them feeling not well adapting quickly. And it takes time. It takes time, but you have to really make sure you have to expect what to expect here before even coming here. You have to make sure you know what you're coming to deal with. And but overall Canada is a great country. Is a wonderful country. It's the way they care about everyone's well-being. They care about everyone's health. They care about everyone's being in the shelter and just being overall protected. And that's the one thing that stands out the most about being in Canada.
Great.
And but for sure you have to be prepared that it won't be the same as you being in Congo or Nigeria, Uganda. It won't be the same. You will face difficulties job wise, school on.
Yeah, let's talk about jobs as you bring that on the table. When it comes to employment, do you think there is some misconceptions that employers do have in Canada about Africans, especially immigrants, African immigrants? And also, do you think that can also impact their career opportunities?
Yes.
Okay.
I think that's school is a different thing, because school you it depends, but the whole thing goes till grade 12, and by grade 12 you most likely are 19 or 18, 17, depending on your birth date and so on, but 17, 18. So you're still a teenager, and you're still going through the process of learning how to live life. So that could be controlled by the system of school, including teachers, and the rules of school and so on. But now when you have a job, you're out there alone.
All right.
You have to make sure you know the environment you're in and what your task is. And I think that could be the main thing that people usually face difficulties with, because now over here, when you have a job to do, you have to follow the job accordingly. Now growing up in different countries, that might be a little different ways of approaching things. So in terms of you might not be able to speak well or understand well how people are talking with you. Yes. So that be difficult, because they will treat you as if you don't know anything. Even if the main reason is you don't know perhaps what they're trying to explain to you, but the job is job. You have to make sure you do it. And the most difficult thing that most immigrants face in terms of them not knowing, first of all, their language. That's the biggest thing. And I know I speak for like a lot of people who actually don't just speak English properly.
That can be a problem during the interviews, right? Because you have an interview, you have to convince an interviewer, and
yes,
you find yourself trying to explain things with another accent that maybe somebody does not really catch everything that you're talking. Can that have an impact too on you getting a job or not?
I think that's the thing. That's the main issues. Now, there used to be certain groups that can help you find a job and so on, and make sure they guide you well enough to make sure they give you a job. But in terms of people finding jobs in the immigrant, it could be very, very difficult. So you come here and you don't speak. Let's say you don't speak English very well.
Yeah.
And you mentioned that you have to go into an interview, and Now there's an accent, barriers going between that, but it's not even just the accent. It's slangs. It's
Yeah.
way the requirement they want you to bring yourself is to have that job, and and that's the main thing
Yes.
that
After you write
you
on
know.
your CV fluent with English.
But the manager or whoever is trying to hire you,
Yeah.
they have to follow what they're meant to follow.
Yeah.
Now, you, the immigrant who is just trying to get your job, trying to survive this life, trying to make sure you sit in a place where you can provide for your family, provide for yourselves. Now, it becomes difficult when you have a certain type of accent or you can't understand what the question was, especially, for example, if they ask you a question in an interview, you know how those questions are.
Yeah.
They ask you questions that you have to answer accordingly. Right on, you have to answer it.
Yeah.
So I think that's the one of the hardest thing, being as immigrant here in Canada. So it's not a, like I said, they say a walk in the park. It's not an easy thing that you just go ahead and nail it. You have to make sure you they see you as this guy is suitable for this job,
Mm.
and most of the time you have accent or the way you grew up in Africa and the things you have mindset of that might not resonate with what they wanna hear.
Mm.
That becomes, and I know a lot of people face a lot of challenges like that just to find a job and or to even keep a job
Even
for that
keep a
matter.
job. Mm.
Keep the job. Yeah, because a lot of these kind of things happen. And speaking of experiences I've had in the past, um, you know, places in the work where there's even bullying,
At
you
work.
know, at work.
Wow.
And that happens. I'm pretty sure that happens a lot, a lot, a lot. In terms of bullying, they see you as an immigrant, you don't know how to do things properly or
Yeah.
understand things properly, and they just decide to find a way to be above you,
That's true.
you know, to
Wow.
control you, to be like make you feel, you're not important here. You can quit. You can go. You can go. I don't know how this now system works or what it is,
Yeah.
but a lot of people that I've heard about, and they come to me and talk to me, or even family members or people that I know, they face these challenges at work, and I think that's the most difficult thing that I hope. I'm hoping things will change in that terms, but being here, that's the most challenging thing that you can face, because over here in Canada, the people who are back home, you have to understand that you come here, you have to work.
Yeah.
You have to be prepared to work.
But the problem is, uh, what kind of job though? Because if already you are judged by the ability to speak
Right.
as a native,
Mm.
can't that lead you into getting jobs that don't really make sense or sustain your family? Because most immigrants come with a lot of children.
Mm.
We come with 7 kids, 6 kids, 4 kids.
Mm.
That's already a lot. Then you have a lot of mouth to feed. To feed. So
Mm.
now not being able to get a good job, because high pay job require a lot of things, right?
100%.
So now in that case, PK, don't you think like that can be an impact too?
Yeah, and it's not only how you speak as well. I think it's how you behave.
Okay.
You know how you, because you might be told something. Now you as an African, you
Okay.
have the mindset. Why did this guy say this thing to me in that kind of way? Why am I getting this from this guy saying this thing to me? But they might be saying things based on how they're supposed to say
Yeah,
things,
maybe you've been
but not.
watching some Mandela and Malcolm X, and now you're coming here like, why do they say this to me?
But the thing is, how you grew up now,
Yeah.
is not the same as here.
Wow.
Here you have to obey. You have to listen to the rules. You have to make sure you obey. This is what I have to do throughout the day, and sometimes it will be harsh. It will be very, very harsh on people. But
Mm.
then again, that harshness, I think it comes in terms of just them not liking you as a person or as an immigrant. You know, we don't know, but this is like there's the stories that you've heard. You know, the stories that you've heard, complaints that you've heard. People come home, so tired. This guy was being very disrespectful to me, man. This guy is not. He's not receiving me as a human being. You
Yeah.
know, he's telling me to go do this and do that, while they're there doing not doing anything. They're just there relaxing and doing easy stuff. While I have to work extra hard. But is that because you're an immigrant? You know,
Wow.
is that because you're an immigrant? Is that because you don't know how to work through the languages or work through the system itself? And most people face those challenges. So I think that's something that it needs to be worked on a lot more. And so you can make sure you feel like things is manageable, you know, in a way. Um, but that's the common thing that I've heard, you know, through my time here, people
Yeah.
coming with feedback. It goes in their life, so it's a challenge that you have to accept.
Yeah.
You to expect to be happening to you.
Yeah. And I feel like in Africa, growing up in Africa, um, most of the time when you make a mistake in a
Mm,
work environment, if your colleague sees that, they have the
mm,
right to sit down with you, you know, and talk to you
mm,
as a brother and tell you
mm,
like this what you did here is not good. The boss won't be happy, you know.
mm.
Our supervisor won't be happy to see this. But I feel like in Canada it's kind of different. When you make a mistake, your colleague take that mistake right away to the supervisor. Like they
Yeah,
feel
yeah,
like that they really have to.
yeah.
And now, the fact that we are not coming from that culture, do you think that can make somebody feel like this person doesn't love me, even though that has nothing to do with either they love you or not? It's a mandate, like that's what people are supposed to do here. When you make a mistake, they tell the supervisor because the
Mm,
supervisor has the right either to retrain you again, to show you again
mm.
things. But uh, for us, like for immigrants, sometimes we feel like, okay, that's a bit too much, right?
Yes,
Yeah, if people
hundred
feel
percent.
like they're talking behind your back,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
that can put you down, right?
But that's the thing. That's the thing I was trying to to cover mostly when I was talking about fitting in,
Yeah,
whether it's in school or work or anywhere. I think in any of those situations, big groups of people who they've been they can be work friends for a long time, and then when somebody new comes in, particularly an immigrant who doesn't really understand what's going on there, they tend to always try to get above that person and bully them, and nobody knows why. But
yeah,
as human nature, you know, they just tend to make sure they let you know that they're above you, you know.
yeah.
And a lot of immigrants have faced that. A lot of immigrants
Mm,
face that, and that doesn't only go at work, like I was saying earlier, at school as well. Because in my days,
mm,
uh, in my school days, I have family members, friends who would literally go lunchtime in the cafeteria and sit alone because they have no one to come to approach them to make friendship with them, or
wow,
just welcoming them into the group. And that's something that I found was really, really harsh
wow.
and really wrong. But I feel like that's who knows how things are going. I haven't had a chance to understand how people were dealing with it in school right now and so on.
Mm,
But during my time was the case, and a lot of people would go through the bullying and and just not being able to fit in just because they coming from an outside country, you know. And that's
wow.
the difficult. The, most people, they will hide it, not to say anything because they have no way to say things. They wouldn't have any way to even bring things out or to talk to people about a situation like this. But Yet again, I guess you couldn't control it because people were already having their groups and they love each other, and they're having moments. And then when they see a little African girl, a little African man who's there and doesn't know anything, they tend to just put negative, thoughts and just energies on them, and that's something it was the most difficult for immigrant being here.
Yeah,
You know,
and that will lead me to my third question. How do you think this could impact the mental health of immigrants who live in countries like this?
man, good question. That's a really good question. Um, and it sucks because um, Canada is such a great country. It's such a great country that tries to make sure everybody has the best living way possible. You know, and that's the message they try to put out every time.
Okay.
Now you can't control how people think, whether they like you or they don't like you. You can't control these things, but that will definitely affect you mental health wise
Okay.
because now you feel like you're alone and things probably not gonna get better. you know, you go to school every day.
Wow.
You're worried about 8 hours.
Yeah,
You're
man.
stressed. You're
Wow.
stressed. You're worrying you about that 8 hours because now you go there. You face difficulties. You face so many difficulties um, that you don't know how to get out of it because you're different in a way. You don't understand the language. You don't understand the slangs,
Mm.
um, the way to speak to people, how they can like you. You don't understand because you're coming from a different kind of section and different country. So mental health, as we know how mental health can do, for humans and
That's true.
for men, for women, it can go because we're all different. We all, you know, think differently. We all handle situations differently.
Yeah.
You know, some people take it hard. They take it very, very hard, um, and it's even worse when they hear because some people they come here alone. Most
Yeah.
immigrants they come here
They don't
alone.
have a family,
All their
right?
all their family is back home,
Yeah.
or yeah. So that's even more challenging now because you have no one to talk to. You have no one to give you advice how to be here.
Especially those who come as students. They usually come alone. Like that can become really difficult.
Tough, yes, yes. So man, it's not an easy thing. I was very fortunate enough to be here, have a great family with me,
Hmm.
and but yet again I was very young that I didn't really face these difficulties because I was just coming there having a good time and being
Yeah,
myself.
you're just a young man,
But then I,
yes.
as a young man, but then I would see people who are actually old who understand life, understand that I'm past this level and I have to make sure I work hard for my life. Now I'm facing these difficulties, not knowing what to do because people don't like me in the way I am, or the way I dress, or the way I eat,
Yeah.
or what I eat.
Yeah.
Because that was the main thing. Like
What you
eating
cook.
your stuff, I'm like, ew, what is this? What are you eating? You know what I mean? So, so those are the things that add up, and it shouldn't be like this. It shouldn't add up like this. But yet again, during that generation, during that time, you can't control it. And I'm just hoping things have become better
Yeah.
now.
Yeah.
We'll what people are facing down in the comments if there's still challenges in schools and works or if anything has changed throughout the years because I know during my time there was a bullying campaign that went on.
Mm, mm.
And yeah, during when I was in school, there's a bullying campaign that went on, and they were trying to make sure they take that negative, bullying system out of people. And at some point, it worked. People now were seeing how because the suicide rate was going higher. People, everything was just going the wrong way possible. So they had to do something. So I think the message all the time behind that was
Mm.
to be what's going on around you and your friends. And we would even have a day where we wear a pink shirt. Everyone in the school wear a pink shirt just to be aware of what's going on. And it doesn't matter what color you like, you have to wear a pink shirt that day. And I think that was very, very beautiful, because that was literally the time where all these things was going on with um immigrants in newcomers in new countries. So I think that was a positive way of doing things, and I hope things changed a little bit during that time.
Yeah.
But you don't know, because every day, every year we go through different things come up, so we don't know,
Wow.
you
Wow.
know,
Wow.
what's really going on, what's gonna happen.
Wow. And this leads me to my next question. Uh,
Mm,
do you think, knowing that when we come here, first of all, as young people, we have expectations. We have our expectations, and there's a
mhm.
lot of pressure that is happening down the hill. Do you think that has an impact, or does it influence our relationships, and also decisions to get married, or even our families that we come with? Because I've seen people separating from their families because of financial problems. It's stories like that. Or sometimes people are getting splitted. Some people are taken to Australia, others to America, and things like that. Do you think these pressures and expectations have an impact on our relationships in terms of getting married and stuff like that?
Well, the thing is about it, the thing about, are we speaking in terms of being an immigrant? You come here with your wife and you have to handle things, or are you speaking in terms of you come here and you have to find yourself a wife
Yeah,
being
especially
here?
yeah. Well, both side. There are immigrants that come here with their wives and children.
Right,
When they get
right.
here, the pressure that life put on them does not allow them
Mm,
to live together. And we have seen
mm,
marriages scattered apart, people fighting, people call each other, a police on each other, the wife will call the police and they'll kick the man out and stuff like that. And we've seen there's so much stories happening in families. And also, we're going to talk more because that's where you have more experience, BK,
mm,
on a young man who's trying to make decisions on who to live with, build a family with, marriage and stuff like that. These are things that we want to cover.
mm.
Yes.
That's a really good question, Mitch, because
Yeah.
in today's world or generation, I would say
Mm.
most are now viewed,
Yeah.
you know, social media and how the marriage is supposed to be,
Yeah.
or what the man's supposed to provide.
Mm, mm,
And
mm.
now, uh, taking back to back in the days how things are, we know things were different
Right. Yes.
when my you know married to my grandmother. My grandpa married my grandmother, and then
Yeah.
the way they lived their life was completely different.
That's true.
You know,
That's true.
I don't know if it was 50-50. You know,
Yeah.
if 50. I don't know if it was 50-50, but we know for sure.
You just remind me that you have a song that is called 50/50. So we're going to get there.
We'll cover that one later on.
Yeah.
It's just the difference between them living there and then now is completely different. And you can't blame me because time has changed, time has passed. But now I feel like back in the days, obviously, um, a woman would be home and cook, take care of the family, provide,
Mm.
in terms of make sure the house is good, neat, and have a good home to live in. Um, a man is out there working now, bringing more stuff to the family and
Yeah.
providing.
Providing, yes.
And yes, and that's the majority of the time. That was the way
Mm-hmm.
African men grew up. As when you get married, you expect to be the man to
Yeah.
provide for your wife, to provide for your kids,
Mm-hmm.
and so on. Now it can go both ways. Now time moves on. Um, the media is telling you different things. Now I don't know how people from Africa come here. Either they have the mindset,
Yeah.
of my husband is this husband, I love him, and I would not care if the man is broke. The man,
Yeah.
but as long as the man does everything is possible to work for my family, work hard as possible as he can for my family, I
When
respect.
when you say I do not care if the man is broke, I'm pretty much sure men, African men, are saying in their heart somewhere, hi, not my wife. Oh, yeah, go on,
But
BK.
but 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 that's the problem right there, because
Yes.
I think that's the thing that obviously causing a lot of troubles now in marriages and relationships. First of all, even way before that happens, living here and growing up here, you always have to, and that's the mistake people probably do make. They they tend to date the person that they want to marry or they're going to marry for a few months, just
Okay.
less time in general.
Oh, okay.
Now that builds up and brings out a big barrier, just like a hole, like a wall there of not knowing that person entirely,
Okay.
you know.
That's true.
So, and that might come to arranged marriage or so on.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the people, I feel like that's really the problem people do face, because now when they go deeper into the marriage, you don't know the person, you don't know
Yeah.
how they are whenever things become difficult. You don't know how
How to deal with
they,
them?
even as a man, they might start going out there and be like, "Well, I don't care about you, leave me alone, man,"
Yeah.
for for no reason at all. But the reason why you're in their position, because you didn't get to know them as a person,
Mm,
as a human.
mm.
Uh, and then are they going to be able to provide for your family?
Wow.
Because
Wow.
for me, like I grew up, I feel like we are raised as men, and you need to find a woman that it should be rightfully to spend the rest of your life with them.
Okay. Wow.
It should be like rightful like this. It should be straight. They shouldn't be anywhere around. You have to, once you put the ring on,
That's it.
and if you're a Christian, you go on to the ceremony saying, for better or worse, for rich or poor, till death was apart. You go through that process,
Yeah.
you know, and I hope that's just didn't become as a thing to go through and say. I hope that's what people really do understand. That's how it has to be.
Mm, mm.
But now, when you're looking at this generation, in my opinion, I would say they've used things as, if you don't have this much money, you're not a man enough. You can't take care of my family.
You can't buy my my whatever. How do they call Brazilian hair?
You can't handle this. You can't handle who I am. I
Wow.
have to. I'm an expensive person, and that goes on. Same thing with men. You know, um, they go about, this woman is not this perfect in how the scenario social media puts them as this a woman's supposed to be,
Mm,
and so
mm,
on.
mm.
And some people are not that strong enough to go through that. So that becomes a problem, in how in marriage gets to be like. Now you're having situations where the man sees you that you're not exactly what they expect you to be, and that goes on to people start cheating on each other. They do whatever, and they that's when the fight comes in, burning.
Yeah. Yeah. That's true. That's true.
Yeah, and I feel that's not how things supposed to be. Like, you have to
Mm,
know the person, you have to know what you're getting yourself into, if the person is going to be there
mm.
to take you through the hard times, you know in both ways. You can be a woman or you can be a man. you know you have to make sure you know how to take care of yourselves, and if this person, do I have a lot of trust in them, enough trust in them to lead me through that till death do us apart. And I feel that's the most important thing. But yeah, things do get hard when it comes to uh,
Wow.
it, a lot to discuss about in terms because I know
Yeah,
some people they can bicker, they can be a lot, you know.
that's true.
I can't do that. No, no, no. You know, those things come in. So now how do you solve these problems? You have to get to know the person, how they really are. And
Yeah,
but the tricky part is you can get to know the person for 5 years and then you still get divorced 10 years later.
yeah, that's true. That's true.
You know,
They call police
that
on
that
you. When they call police on you, you are done.
you you
It's
you
over.
you are done. It's
It's
over for
over,
you.
brother. When they call police on you, that's it.
Yeah. That no no no. You can't be you don't even try to go through that process, because that's when a downfall goes and you
Yeah.
can't recover back from that. But I feel like, you know, the main focus should always be you have to know the person that you're with,
Mm,
you know,
mm, mm.
because then it becomes just a challenge, especially when you bring the children in your family. It becomes now a challenge uh, to all that because I know even when the children are in the family, people decide to scatter, to leave. You're leaving the children alone. Some of them are growing up not even knowing what's going on between their parents,
Yeah, that's
and that's
true.
the most hardest thing. And that's brought a lot of um, anxiety problems, depression problems.
Yeah.
To the kids, even to the wife or husband. Depending on how the situation went by. But I think that's the main problem that people face. So they have to, in my opinion, they have to really get to know each other. Um, they have to have the same goal, understanding. Because if you want to go about, because a life is a long time, and I give a lot of props to people who celebrate the 70th wedding anniversary or
Wow.
the 50th wedding anniversary. I'm always very curious, like, man, what is the thing that you guys talk about the most?
Yeah.
What let's go through the most because that's normally that's how things supposed to be. But
Wow.
we all know some people not compatible, and then you go through things differently. You know,
Wow.
so yeah, so that's the biggest problem that they face, and I think
Yeah.
it should be. I even lost the question you asked me earlier
No.
because I've gone through different
Yeah. Yeah.
diverse of things.
I know. I know, man. I know. I'll take you back in a few seconds. But again, in Africa, you can have a wife who's able to grow 7 kids
Mm.
without a man just because the entire neighborhood is evolved in growing a family in Africa. It's not like here where you don't even know the name of your neighbor. you don't you don't even know that next door there's a couple that lives over there. The only thing you hear is maybe their dog, or you know them when they go out. That's it. It's just hey, hey, that's it. It becomes tricky because you can't bring anybody in your house, and you can't leave children in their house in the house and go to work. The government is going to come and pick them up. So that becomes tricky too. So Baraka, I know, yeah, we're gonna still have maybe next sessions where we can talk about these things in general. But just in 2 seconds, can you cover why most young people are afraid? They seem to be afraid to get married. Like it's like they don't want to hear anything about marrying women here. They feel like they should be going to Africa to get married. Do they think like wives in Africa are they more sweet than ladies here? What do you think, man?
Oh, you know, I think that I think that it's it comes down to how you are and how you view life or
Yeah.
who you want as a partner.
Mm.
You know, some people have different taste on how they like to go through their life. Some people um, love to have a woman who will stay home, cook, and be loyal as they can.
So those who are
And I,
here cannot stay home, cook, be loyal.
no,
50-50.
that's the thing. That's the thing that goes about the most. It's some people, when you meet people here, they understand the culture here mostly more than
Yeah.
someone from Africa will understand how
Okay.
you grew up.
Okay.
I think that's the major, because someone from Africa might have a mindset of our wife has to be home and our wife has to take care of the kids at home while the husband out there working. But that which can shift also here in terms of both man and woman have to be working there to build a family together, raise one house, and they work things together as that. They share 50-50, like I might say things,
Yeah.
you know. So it depends on that level.
Yeah.
Or which also can lead you to another side is, some people may have thoughts of the people in Africa having to be very, very cultural in a way,
Okay
you
then.
know.
Yeah.
Yeah. So they might not like that, or they may not like, or they may like that,
Okay.
or they feel a different way of being here. Someone who's raised here, they don't have any culture whatsoever. They'll go straight into your face and they'll insult you. They'll,
They'll
they'll
tease you.
slap all police, you know, or no respect whatsoever because they know they're right. Now
Man.
that all de- now that all depends on how you are raised as a person.
Wow.
If this is a person that's gonna be able to live with you and your personality for the rest of your life, or you want to go on the side of finding a woman back home that you grow up culturally, because we know how marriages and culture be. There's a lot of example of it here.
Wow.
You have a who's who's very cultural, and there's a couple who was very, very modern to come out here in the city. There's different kind of ways on life. We all know that. So yeah, I feel like that's really, really depends. I don't think it's like people not wanting to marry people back home, in a way. I think it's how you grew up, what age you came here with, and how you were able to learn things. I think it differentiates a lot
Yeah.
in who you want to find as a wife, as a partner.
Yeah.
It differentiates a lot. But yet again, my thing to say would be the most important thing would be to follow. Please, you don't get married to get divorced.
That's
You
true.
know
That's true. Yeah. That's true.
that I think that's not that the goal for the whole point of being married. You get married to raise family and build family, and become grandparents, have grandkids, and so on, and life moves on. That's the whole point of being married.
Yeah.
But
Wow.
people do obstacles and lead them having to get divorced, and which is unfortunate. But it might have something to do with the decision you want to make. If you want to go back home and find yourself a wife
Yeah.
or a husband who is very, very, you know, cultured in their way
The one who can
of
cook
growing.
pondu, right? So,
Someone, someone who can cook fufu, and
yes.
doesn't matter if you're a man can be down throwing fufu for a wife. That's
Yeah.
that's all normal. So yeah, I think it all depends on that. But then again, I feel like if I'm wrong with this, I don't know. But
Nah,
most
man.
women, they'll probably would just judge you on how you grew up. You know,
That's true.
if if they're raised in a cultural environment, they come from African CA, they'll see you. This guy's not Ugandan. Come on, this guy's not Congolese. Come on, this guy's not Nigerian. So those things, he comes in and then he plays a role.
They
You
matter.
know, yeah, they don't understand you as who you are.
Yeah.
You know, and and that might mean a lot. That might cause a lot of problems because we know some African women or everything. they want a man who's African as well, who will understand them in the African kind of way or in African culture. Speaking of Africa, I'm just speaking based on Africa. I know for sure it'll be different from different countries, different continents as well. But speaking of Africa, some African women, African men will understand mostly better a woman or a man who's raised in Africa more than a woman or man who's raised here. Because here they were raised differently and they'll probably have different ways of approaching things. Well, in Africa is a lot more different as well. And you can't control these things. You can't.
Yeah,
That's just the way it is.
you can't. When I was in Africa, before I move you to my next question, when I was in South Africa, because I lived in South Africa, there was a propaganda that used to, to go through the immigration or immigrant community, saying that, when we ask each other questions, so when are you going? Why you want to go home to get married if we already have sisters around here, Congolese sisters? You will hear everybody will say, bro, I cross countries without a passport to get to South Africa. Cross a lot of countries. If a woman is able to take herself from Congo too and bring herself here, that's another man just like me. So I don't want problem. So most guys will be saying, I would rather go home, bring my wife myself, because then I
Right.
can consider that I've taken from the source, than taking the
Huh.
one that is already here. That's just a man like everybody else, like she's built.
Wow.
So I don't know. It used to be a misconception when we were in South Africa. Our next question, Baraka. Um, crazy, man.
Oh.
It's crazy.
Uh,
Yes.
oh,
So let's talk about the cost of living in cities in Canada. We move here. We're talking about jobs. We're talking about relationships, families, identities. But we can't forget to talk about the high cost of living in Canada right now. How do you think that impacts almost all of us, even including Canadians, like native, including them? They're impacted by the cost of living, the high cost of living. What do you think about that?
well,
Especially
things.
housing, man.
Oh yes. Oh yes. I feel like when now I'm trying to compare 2008 when I came here to 2025, how
Hmm.
things are. I feel like you know things will still. You still have to think about how you're gonna survive paying rent when you come here back in 2008. But at least you could have enough financial um, stability to be able to balance
Mm-mm.
living in a house and feeding your family, and maybe, excuse me, have a little less to save or a little something to save.
Mm-hmm.
You know, now fast forward to 2025, I think things have definitely um, took a different turn. We all know, I think we are all aware of how things have changed in terms of pricing and everything. But if you are in Africa right now thinking of coming to Canada, I think that's the biggest thing. You have to know that coming here, you have to know the way to understand that your life will be working to pay for the rent, and then the little money you will survive to pay for the eating food.
Yeah,
And that is if you have a good job.
that's true too, huh?
If you have a good job.
Yes.
But if anything else, you have to have double job, or some people do work three jobs. I've heard people work three jobs just to make sure you can pay the house, and you can also have your way of saving a little money and having food, and all the necessary things to be affordable for you.
Mm-hmm.
Extremely difficult, extremely difficult. Just the way things are right now, and and I feel like a lot of people agree with the fact that the living cost is a lot right now, super a lot. People are working double jobs or just to be able to pay the rent, just to be able to have to stay in the house and have food as well. They have to work extra a little difficult, and I'm hoping, things are being changed in the system of making things more affordable. We'll see how the years, play out in the future. But as for right now, as immigrants, I think the way I was brought here and the life I started growing up as, I think if you follow the same steps you did then for now, you won't survive it.
Wow.
You won't survive it.
And when you
It's
have two jobs, you have tax increased on you, right?
You have
Like
tax increase, and that, what I'm saying, that tax,
tax is the craziest thing, right?
it, they cut it all out. Now, when they cut it all out, you have different ways of, now you have to balance things, because if you have a car, you have to know that I gotta pay for that car to be useful on the road. I
Yeah,
have to make
car
sure car
insurance.
in, yes.
Mm.
Uh, Not you take a train or bus, whatever, but that,
It's also
yeah,
going really high, and it takes
yes,
hours of just to
take
get on.
hours. It
It's
take hours.
crazy.
Now you're spending your time on the road to get to work, 2 hours plus
Yeah, that's
to get
true.
to work, depending on where you work.
Yeah,
But then you come back already late. So the whole circle, the whole cycle is you going to work, you barely get enough time to even come back home and spend 1 hour to just have time for yourself. You go to sleep, you repeat that the next day again. So I think that's definitely the reason that just for that is because of the cost of how things have highly, inflated, and people are just right now facing the most hardest times ever. So
yes,
I don't know how, things can be for somebody who comes here. Um, there might be programs that can be able to assist people with, with any assistance they can. But
yes.
in if the assistance is there, you still gotta know that, the money that you get, that money will go to the rent, and
Wow,
you're not gonna get saved or anything like that. That money will go to the rent, and you ensure you pay it. And if you
wow,
don't pay it, the consequence.
wow,
You will
wow.
parking your bike in the street out there. So that's the law. You can't go around it. That's the law. You have to make sure you provide and pay your due that was supposed to be paid, or things won't happen any otherwise.
I've seen some folks
Uh,
who live in cars right now in Canada, and especially in Vancouver, and I heard about Toronto too. Life is really, really expensive. It's crazy.
and that's the only thing we have to be being worried about, mostly just as immigrants.
Yeah.
Is it is it worth it coming here? That's the question I always ask myself. Is it worth it coming here at this time of this era? Is it worth it coming here, or is it worth it working hard and staying in Africa and build a career in Africa, no matter how challenging it is? That's the balance things. That's the biggest question I feel like immigrants should ask themselves. If you're thinking of coming to Africa, to Canada, think about these things. How can you think about, do can I afford, being here and live a life happily, or can I be able to be having my own business in Africa, or even make a little living in Africa and stay there, you know.
Yeah.
But then the biggest thing, that I'm grateful about is obviously security. Security is probably the main reason people, because now we know people have to misplace themselves because of war,
Yeah,
because of
true. Yeah.
high crime rates and so on. I feel like that's the main reason usually. But then when you get here, the financial living is a little bit hard and a little bit tough. But
Yeah.
if you're in countries that you feel you're safer, um, maybe it's probably the best advice is to try to work yourself there rather than going somewhere you can't be able to handle in terms of you coming here and feeling depressed and how you're gonna restart from zero and go back up, you know. But then again, some people might have the faith and the courage in doing that. They come in there, they know they'll overcome all these obstacles. So some of them they know they can do that. But speaking from experience, now it's like you have to be prepared. You go above the mile to to survive.
Yeah,
You
and
have to be prepared.
the thing is that things are really, really changing. You know, life in Canada goes really high in terms of cost, but jobs don't change. Salaries are the same. And
I
that's really tough. You've been paid for 10 years the same salary, and life has moved very far. Houses, oh man, basement. If just to get a basement suite right now, it's tough. It's really, and then how do you explain this to somebody who's in Africa?
true.
How do you put
Yes.
this? How do you make it even sweet? Like a friend of mine, shout out to Jerry, wherever he is right now. He always say, "How do you make this even sweet so they can understand you?"
No, I don't think there's any way. I don't think there's a way to make anything sweet.
So they should
Make
just come in,
if
face
I'm
it,
being
right?
honest. No, no, no. The sweetness comes in. Actually, don't even know how you'll be able to make things suitable for some because things has to be put in a way it is here. If you lie to somebody, they come here and people go to depression. You know, especially if you come here alone. I think that's the most difficult things to do. And I'm not trying to scare anyone who has a dream of moving here. Like I said earlier, Canada is the most safest place you can be in. You know,
Yeah,
there, there's crimes here and there in cities and spots all over Canada. But compared to how some people might be living in Africa, it's a lot worse over there. You know, so in terms of safety, it's huge. You know, I've lived here and I've been very, very blessed to have a security that I feel like I walk out there at 3 a.m. in the morning, I'm safe.
yeah,
You know, I'll be out there at 3 a.m. I'm safe. I have nothing to worry about. I can
that's
walk to
true.
the store.
That's
That's
true.
my limit. Yeah, and I'm safe. But this is the fear some people part of Africa have to live in. Be like, man, I can't even go outside to go to the bathroom. You know, the outside bathroom, I can't even go there to go the bathroom. You know, so but it depends on the environment you're in and where you are. But if you do have a goal of coming to this country, you have to be mentally prepared that it's not all eating the cake in the park. I keep bringing that phrase. I don't think it's the right thing I'm saying, but whatever. I'll
They,
keep that.
they give money for free.
Yeah, I'll make sure it's not just walk in the park. You have to make sure you get ready for everything that's here, everything that you'll be facing this challenge.
You know,
And
people sell homes in Africa. They sell houses to travel, just to come here and find out that even finding a house for a rent is now even
mm,
harder. you know,
but that's also a thing people not supposed to know because in Africa, most of the people, if you are in a group or a family, and half of your members they get a chance to leave and go to Canada or America or Australia or anywhere, the other half will be like, oh, we will chill, we're good now. We
we have
just
guys protectors.
is there. They will transfer the money whatever they can because things are falling. They're good. But it's not like that. And I feel like most people should understand that anywhere you are in life, you have to work hard. You have to work super hard to get what you want to get. And it is true depending on how much you make here and you make in Africa or Canada, it might be different. But the cost of living here it prevents you to have that source or even feeding people back home or helping people back home. You have to find a way to help yourself here to be able to help the people back home, not to help yourself here. It's it's something.
All right.
So
All right, Baraka. Uh,
long, man.
I'm gonna ask you just maybe one more question, then we're gonna move on to the album because we shouldn't forget that Baraka is a musician, and as if you see this cover that I have right now here, that's Baraka's album. You can see "Vacation Vibe." That's one of the song. So he has 13 tracks, so 12 tracks plus the intro in this album. There's "Mi Amor" right now over there. There's "Onaretsa." There's Focus. That's a cool song too. So if you see that blue color background and things like that, and a guy was smiling, just know that's Baraka. And go and watch and enjoy the album. That's a cool album. But we're gonna talk about the album right now. But before that, Baraka, I just wanna know, do you think, based on all the information that you have, more African immigrants that live here, do you think they are really optimistic about their life here and things in general here in Canada? But also, do you think there are organizations that are cultural organizations like festivals? We have different organizations from different cultures, like Nigerians have their own thing, Congolese have their own thing. We have Ivory Coast and stuff like that. Do you think these really help everybody who lives here, just to help them maintain a life, especially for musicians with festivals? Do you think this is really assisting you guys, or is just another scam that people go to the government, collect the money, and then they don't even assist the people they were supposed to assist in this? Because that can also become a problem.
That is a huge problem. That's a
Yeah,
huge problem.
yeah,
Thank you for putting the album out there. What a great project it was. I'm very very grateful to be even able to complete that project and put it out there. But that's the main, I think the main thing that puts in there, because we have a lot of talented musicians,
hmm,
you know, comedians, you know, people who cook, chef, everything.
yeah.
We have many different
Even models.
even models here in Canada that's very, very artistic. But the lack of being together, you know, is like the number one thing. So those organizations, it all depends the what are the reasons they're doing it for. You know, some people might do it because they want to make quick money,
Hmm.
do for that little time, quick money, and get out. You know, or some might actually have a belief that I'll do this because I want to support this artist, because this can be a future of us pushing artists like more and then comedians
Hmm.
and models, so on.
Hmm.
You push them a lot. So it depends the mindset that you have, that
Hmm.
you're doing for the people, the
Hmm.
purpose you're doing it. I haven't been um able to be in one of those events, like huge events such as um cultural events and in the festivals. I haven't been able to be in those as a performer, as a music and so on. I would love to be there, but I haven't been able to be in one of those. But I feel like it's not being done enough.
Okay.
You know, that's one of my things. I feel like, in my opinion, when these things are happening, people who are here should be invested more in having the program promoted out, the event promoted out, but also have different um, shows happening in those events. I think that's the way that you can promote the young local artists and the models and comedians and the chef and everyone who was there, the showcase they can put out. I think that's the opportunity that you can do to promote everybody as a group. As I do Afrobeat music, Afro musicians, and so on. If you have that uh, ability of creating that event, get everyone involved.
Yeah.
It's not only for supporting the local artists or local comedians or whatever, but it's also pushing that event, people knowing your background in multiple ways.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Yeah, because all these artists, these comedians, they bring different kind of events and get entertainment into that event. So I feel like maybe they're not putting a lot of more energy and effort into that and thinking about how this event is going to lead us to. Are we just doing it for that moment? Maybe to make a little quick money and get out of there, or are we doing it for the future, for having to build that event even bigger and bigger and bigger next year? So I feel that's like what's lacking right now. I feel like we should all step up into that. They're all the organizers out there. If you're organizing something, you have to have a mindset on how you want to do it and who you want to bring there to showcase. There's a lot of great musicians here in Vancouver, particularly I'm speaking. Great musicians,
Wow.
and nonetheless you can even bring musicians from outside to just show the culture itself. But that should be something just could be light work. You have to make sure you push enough, let the government know that we're here and we're trying to create something huge and represent ourselves and represent the community. And I feel like most artists and most comedians and chef and everyone who has talent are ready to impact those events. So I just feel like they there's a lack of you know connection. There's a lack of unity in all that.
Okay.
You know, I haven't been part of any of this. Maybe I've been in local small ones, but in terms of the huge events, such as I see, for example, there's
There's African descent. I have to call out these people. African descent festivals.
right.
They don't really care about us. We have to be honest. And I never even see these guys saying, "Oh no, we have to search for musicians in the community." All they
Man,
want, all they want, is to you to
come
bring
on, man.
yourself, bring yourself here, and we can treat you anyhow we want. That's it.
I would love to speak to even one of the people in the group who, why are we doing these things for? You know,
That's the thing.
why naming it African so on? Why? Because we don't involve anyone who's being trying to bring the talent as an African
Yeah,
create. They're not being participated into that in a way they promote enough to have people come on and watch them so they can gain the audience and gain
yeah,
the the attraction and everything. And that's not only for the artist, it's also for the group to show that the community is building. And I give a little shout out to you know Afrobeat itself, Afrobeat music itself, how much is growing. And I feel that's what gives a lot of local artists hope
okay,
and dream. The fact that now that we see our people are coming up there, we have a chance to go up there and put Afro music on the map and put, keep growing and keep competing against the top. I feel like that's the main thing the Afro musician are looking forward for, because when you talk about Afro music, Afro comedians, you bring out the big names, you bring out big names of musicians, so that motivates younger local people to chase that dream in that kind of sense. But the leaders should be the people who are hosting those events, because that's the main thing that even the government can see that we're working towards and they should focus more on working through that and have a purpose of that event, have a goal, rather than just like, "Yeah, let's do it for this year and let's get over it. So I don't know what's the mindset is for that shows and for that events, but
yeah,
and that's a lot of artists here. They work so hard,
yeah,
super super hard, and they don't only work for that one year. They work for the future,
yeah, yeah,
next year and the year to come. So, you know, we're trying to elevate, Afro music here in Vancouver, in Toronto, in Canada, in America. We're trying to elevate it so we can show that Afro music is there.
that's true. That's true.
So we do need help. We do need help in that sense.
Yeah, I think we'll shout out to CIIA. I think they have
Oh
tried
yes,
their best with African. Is he? How do you call it? Black History Month. We
yes,
have performed there a few times. I remember. I think you remember Baraka, right?
yes,
We have performed
hundred
there.
percent.
Yes, it's a centre d'intégration pour l'immigrant, pour immigrants
Yeah,
africains. That one I recognize. Center of Integration for African Immigrant. Shout out to President Paul Mulango for assisting
yes, that,
us. We have performed on those ones, and we're so grateful for that. We're so
uh,
grateful. Others, please.
no, that you are absolutely right. We were very very grateful to be in those in Centre d'Intégration African. Like that's the program that really really
Yeah,
came out there and be like, I'm performing because I know the reason why I'm here, and I want
yeah,
to make sure I put my country, my continent, on the map. So
yeah.
that's the goal that's supposed to be. That's the goal it's supposed
That's
to
true.
be. We're supposed to all root for each other and get that game up. You
That's true.
know, that
All
we have
right.
something to show.
All right, Baraka. I'm gonna be talking about the album now. Moment of truth. The album is out there.
Yes.
Somebody went into the kitchen and they cooked,
Oh
and
man.
all they want is you to come and eat. That's it. You just come and
Oh man.
eat. They have cooked. They've done everything. And here we have the artist, the superstar Baraka, who's in the room. Afrobeat has been prepared, has been fashioned, has been, if I can say, polished in this album.
Mm.
I have worked on albums, but I can tell you, so far, this is one of my greatest album I've worked on, and I believe that you guys are going to love this. As I can show you again here on the screen, we have Stamina right now. Then we have 50-50, one of the best songs, my favorite song so far in Stamina. Tipsy is in there, featuring King Fad. And also we have Rendezvous. I can see Rendezvous there with featuring Kyle. And also we have Camila. Camila, oh my God. There's a music video on YouTube. Just search Baraka, just like how we write Baraka, Barack Obama, but with A. Just search for Baraka, you're going to get. There's Level Up, there's Vacation Vibes, and that's track number 9. Number 10, we have Mi Amor. And we going to number 11. We have Onaretsa. Oh, that one is jumpy. There's also Focus over there. And then we
Yeah.
have track list is over there. So, without further ado, I am going to bring back my brother Baraka, and we're going to talk about the album called Stamina. What is the inspiration on this album?
Well, first of all, I'm very, very grateful
Yeah.
to. I feel like everything just had a purpose on this album from the beginning of how things went by. You know, I've always dreamed to make a big project like this. I didn't know how it was possible. If I'm being honest with you, I didn't know it was gonna be possible.
Mm.
But it all comes down to who you surround yourself with and in the position in life you are. But I was very, very grateful enough to have, met Major, the guy who was masterpiece in this album, just putting it all together.
Shout out to
Without
myself.
this, oh come on, man! Without this, I needed all your best, and I'm
Yeah,
very,
man.
very happy that you finally found it. Like this is the mission that Baraka wants to go with, and you understood the assignment, and you went through the process and
Mm.
delivering, supposed to deliver in the right way, and I was very, very grateful. And shout out to OC, man, the work he did on this album is incredible. You know, um, the beats, the conversations, the advice, and everything is just incredible. So shout out to OC for that. But inspiration, man, I feel like this album really, really explains who Baraka is. Growing up in a family that've gone through a lot of struggles. Um, you know, starting from Congo, going to Uganda, facing challenges there, come to Canada, facing the challenges there, but just kept on moving forward. The stamina and the
Wow.
stamina that I had, leading towards the album. I think that's the
Oh, so
reason
Stamina was the
why
first song that led into the album.
that
That led
stamina was.
actually. Yeah.
As soon as I made stamina, that song, I was like, I have to create this as a story, as an
Wow.
album that people can relate to and listen to what my story is. So that all went by in that first song, Stamina. As soon as that happened, I was very, I was emotional. I was emotional going through that. I was like, I can't believe this is happening because I never thought this would be possible. But
Wow.
I want to give thanks to God, man, for just keeping me very patient and very um humble and showing people the message and giving people like advice that no matter what you face in life, you need to have that stamina in you because things all have ways to be put in place. You just have to be very patient to keep the work going.
True.
And all this music in there, I just dedicated to that message and being able to be here and finally it being out. I'm like, it's crazy, and the support that I've received so far, unbelievable. Truly, thank you guys, everybody who's been able to show their love and support on this album. And this is just the start. I want to grow it a lot more. So if you tuned in on this podcast show, you gotta make sure you stream and listen to this time in the music because
Yeah.
it's unbelievable. All the artists who I featured in album, man, this guy is delivered, man. this guy's this guy's brought everything they could in their power, and I couldn't ask for a better team than that, man. Just giving me everything that I wanted. So
Wow.
that's that. I'm enough for you.
Wow. So, Baraka, let's let me tackle you just a second, just a bit. Um, we just spoke about how difficult life is in Canada right now, and all the things that people go through in order to survive. Or the jobs that somehow are very hard, to find, and then also salaries and stuff like that. Um, I just wanted to clarify one thing. How did you then, with all these problems, how did you come up with an album, man? Maybe you should be in the hospital with for mental issues, but you just find yourself writing an album, and then how did you sponsor an album, man? I think you guys are making more money in Canada. Come on, man. Maybe
No,
did the government
no.
assist you on this one, or it's just let's go for that, bro.
I think all this has to come down to how much love you have for what you do.
Hmm.
I have a lot of love for what I do, music wise. I put myself out there because I feel like I was born to. I started singing when I was very young, performing in front of audience. I was very young, and I enjoyed it. At the
Yeah.
very time I first stepped on stage, I was nervous. I was like, "What's gonna happen here?" I was shaking. At the end of the performance, I was like, "Man, I really love this. I
Yes.
really enjoy this." And no matter if people will make fun of me, be like, "Man, why are you shaking out there like that?" But I'll go home and be like, "Man, this was the best performance in the world." I feel like I was one of the big artists in Uganda because I grew up in Uganda and I would see how much, performance, how much the crowd would be loving the performances. So I feel like that was for me. I feel like
Wow.
when I finished that little church performance, people be like, "This guy
Oh, was it in
nailed up."
church? In church?
Hey, that was the first performance right there. And yeah, I was playing a song of Sekou Martin. People don't know this guy, but shout out to Sekou Martin. This
Wow.
guy literally gave me the energy to go out there and perform in front of people with joy and to represent the what you love. So that was like one of the things that I really enjoyed as performing in front of people. Um, but it's been phenomenal. It's been phenomenal, and going through this life is here is very very hard. We talked about this earlier in the show.
Yeah.
The fact that you have living to take care of. You
Yeah.
gotta pay rent. You pay all the bills. You gotta pay all the financial situation, feeding yourself and so on, feeding family and so on. But you have to put you have to put yourself in a position where you gotta make yourself happy, and being happy is loving what you do. You know,
True.
loving the
True.
where you are and what really makes you who you are. And that's why I had to push everything I could in this album, and I couldn't do it alone. You know, the people that has supporting cast behind this album is I can't thank them enough. But they know how much it means to me. You
Wow.
know, but if you want to be a musician, if I'm giving you a little advice,
Mm, mm.
get ready to pay up. People who are now trying to pay for music work, you have to rethink these things twice, because
Wow.
this is only the start. It only gets a little more challenging from here. But this is the place where you have to make sure you know what you're doing in terms of paying for the song, paying for the mastering, paying for the mixing, paying for the studio time and so on. You have to make sure you know that, because all of it has to come down to, you know, how great the work, the outcome is. And these guys who were behind the scenes, they put up incredible job, you know, and
Wow.
they sacrificing their time to make sure people show to see how great you are and the great work they've put in. So that was like one of the things I need to give to advise to people. They have to make sure they know that, and they have to make sure they sacrifice all the little things that they gotta do in the daily life, put
Mm.
it in something that, you know, put in something that you enjoy doing, and it's gonna leave memories for people, you know, in the future and generation. Because I don't only do this for the moment, I do this for the future. You
Wow.
know, I do believe people in the future, you know, there will be a little kid just like I was in Uganda who was gonna be inspired by what I'm doing. I know there's a little kid who's gonna be inspired by what I'm doing now, and they would want to take their career into the next step. So I'm very, very grateful enough to create this album. Is beyond my imagination, man. And I can't wait for what the future holds, how it's gonna
Wow.
play out there. But stream the album. You gotta stream the album.
Yeah.
Listen to the crazy work that Major give and for this album, man. And all the others who I got to feature in this one.
Wow.
Yeah, but you make sure to listen to it.
Wow. So again, Baraka, if you might have something before we finish, if you have anything that you want to leave the people with right now, what would that be? What's your next move to, the album is there? Are we working on videos or whatever? Is there a tour? Are we having shows around? What's the next move, and what do you want to leave the people with right now that they won't forget?
First of all, I want to say thank you so much for Major for bringing me on this show. This is the first show that I've had since the album has released, and me even be able to talk about this album. So thank you so much, Major and
We are
Afro
grateful
Diaz.
to have you too. Yeah.
Oh yeah, having me here is incredible. So thank you so much.
Yeah.
There's big things coming for this album. You know, it's not the end. I have a music video for Camila, one of the songs of the album. Is out on YouTube right now. Camila, incredible music video. You know, the work put into it was absolutely amazing. So go ahead and check it out. It's on my page. Baraka Official is my YouTube channel. You can go check it out there. Stream that video. Amazing. But the same kind of concept of the video is going to be happening. You
Wow.
know, songs like Stamina, songs like 50-50. Those will have visuals that you guys don't want to
Wow.
miss.
50-50.
So, oh my gosh. And we talk about
We
50
spoke
here.
about
So
50-50 here today. So yeah.
come on, come on. So 50-50 will be there. You stream it and you wait for the music video. But that's one of the plans. And I'm looking forward to also create few shows, you know, in the upcoming months. So that will be announced on social media. It's Baraka Official, my Instagram. I'll be posting a lot of updates on there. And my official Facebook page as well is Official Baraka. You can find me there as well. But all the announcements will be there, and then you see what concerts I'm coming up with and what videos is being released. So that's what to be prepared of. But I'm very, very grateful for this album, and I feel like the growth from how I've been working. Guys who don't know, I've been working with Major for 6 years plus now, and trust
Move
me,
forward.
he has now put a lot of pressure on me that I can't even explain.
Wow.
But he helped me who I am today, and helped me to manage this career and this journey. So I really do give a lot of props to Major and OC for all this grateful. But those things coming for the album, great things coming up. So I just can't wait to share with everybody, man. So this
Wow.
is Baraka right here.
Wow. 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 So Baraka, we just before we let you go, we just want to tell you that we love you so much. You know,
Thank
everybody
you.
who's watching this show, I think people really respect when others put great work. You know, you have done
Yeah.
what you have done. You are writing the history right now, and we believe that this is going like a next level, right? So the future is going to be something else that we might not see right now, but we'll be surprised. So thank you so much, Baraka, for participating in this show. So far, I can tell you this is one of my best show I've ever have live. Live streaming live, somebody's at home. That's that was really really like the best, man. Everything is quality, everything is good. I've tried shows different around the world, but this one is the by far the best. So yeah,
Thank you. I appreciate you, man.
thank you so much. All right, to close this, I'm going to ask you guys to really stream this album. That's the best thing you can do to Baraka. You know, we spoke about so many things, but really go to his page, Baraka Official on YouTube. Just write Baracka, just like Barak, but add A at the end. And soon as you write Baraka Kamila, you will see him. That's how I search for him. That's how I,
Yes.
that's how I search for him. And again, if you haven't, please subscribe to this channel. Subscribe to this channel. If you want to participate in a show like this, please just send us an email or go on Instagram, Afro Diaspora Media. You will see us and you will be able to be invited to this show. You can do it from home. You can come down here in the studio and we'll make you pass your ideas to the great community that we're building right now. So we should help each other to build this strong, strong community. So subscribe, share the show, make sure everybody is watching this because this was really amazing. Again, once again, we have a lot to talk about, but again, you know, my name is Major and I was your host to this show, and my guest was Baraka, the one and only. Thank you so much for tuning in. Peace.